Today we have a very special guest, the ambassador of Gambia. Hello, how are you, Your Excellency?
I am fine, thank you for having me. My name is Lamin, Dibba, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Republic of the Gambia to the United Nations. I have been posted to this position since September 2024 up to now.
Awesome. We want to talk about climate change today, and Gambia is doing a lot for climate change when a lot of the other countries, the Western nation, including USA, are not doing as much. Your Excellency, tell us how is climate change currently affecting food security and agricultural livelihood in Gambia?
Thank you very much. This is a very important question. 75% of our population depend on agriculture. But of recent, from the 70s to date, we have seen some changes in the rainfall pattern. We have seen erratic rainfall patterns, too much rain causing flooding, and too little also causing drought. So this is a significant concern for a developing country like the Gambia. And we produce almost the food that we consume, but also import majority of it because of the insufficient food that is being produced by the sector. As a result, the Gambia government is very much proactive in providing smart agriculture policy, climate smart agriculture, and also looking into how do we ensure that climate change is mainstream in all sectors of the economy, particularly agriculture, where 75% of our population produce food. And we have seen that drought has caused a lot of low productivity in both the rice sector and also the groundnut sector, which is a cash crop for the Gambia. And we have seen also, because of the erratic nature of rains, we have seen salt water that is also intruding into lowlands that is producing rice. And this also affects the production and productivity of the Gambia. And as a result, we have embarked on several projects and programs to ensure that we looked into how do we research into having high yielding varieties, short duration, drought resistant. This remains a challenge. Sea level rise, which is also caused by warming temperatures, is also predicted to have impact on the lives and the livelihood of our coastal community, which is also part of agriculture. Fish culture is also part of agriculture. And we have about 80 kilometers of coast that is habited by this fishing community. So you can see it's both in the farm and also in the fishing sector that climate change is affecting the lives and the livelihood of this number of people.
Also, what are some of the initiatives that Gambia is taking now for climate change adaptation and climate change resilience?
Thank you. In 2021, the Gambia government, through the Ministry of Environment, developed a nationally determined contribution that really looked into key priority sectors that are drivers of climate change, like the energy sector, the agriculture sector, and transport sector, and see how to reduce that greenhouse gas emission. But apart from that nationally determined contribution, we have other measures, mitigation measures, that the government is working with other sectors like the civil society to see how best we can plant many trees as possible. As a result of that, the Ministry of Environment then looked into improving the nurseries where trees are not to be transplanted. And they took this responsibility to plant 1 million trees every year. That is one. And two, because of the nationally determined contribution, that is Paris Agreement compliant. We got this international acclamation that the Gambia is the only country during that period of review that achieved 1.5 degrees compliance. And as a result of that, we have developed also our long-term strategy for zero net carbon emission by 2050. And all these are strategies that look into building resilience, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and also ensuring that the entire economy participates in reducing the national carbon footprint of the Gambia. So these are some of the significant steps that we have undertaken, and we have also costed this NDC to the tune of over $300 million.
300
Over $300 million. But there are sectors that are, so scientific in nature that we, at the time, we couldn't, quantify how to make those budgets. So those are also budgets that still we need to quantify and be able to add it to the 300 over the $300 million. So you can see that the government is contributing, but also we are also making the sensitization. And as a result, we also developed the climate change policy that aims to mainstream climate change, but also to account for what is happening in the economy in terms of reducing the carbon footprint and also decarbonizing the economy, which is also very essential. But you look at the size of the economy, you may think that that is not possible. But this is the reality that is dictated by our nationally determined contribution, our long-term strategy and vision that we have developed for the country.
So Gambia is set for net zero in 2050.
Yes.
And what is your message to high emitting nations?
Now, and we can give you examples why Gambia is on the path to net zero. We have already developed a hydropower, which is on the over, will provide the Gambia and other neighboring countries, because climate does not know border. Environmental issues do not know border. So we have this regional program, the Gambia River Basin Organization, that brought together 4 countries to develop a hydropower, which the infrastructure is already ready and is even transmitting electricity from one country to the other. So when this hydropower, we have the Keleta Dam in Guinea, which is supplying 30% of the power generated to these other 3 member countries. We have the Swapiti Dam, which is also in Guinea, also to add additional power to this grid. And we also have the Sambangani Dam, which is still under negotiation for construction, which, if ready, will equip all these 4 countries with hydropower. 2, the Gambia government, through the World Bank, also came up with a project called the Jam City, which is providing 20 megawatts of solar, and that will also, put the generators, the diesel fuel, the biofuel off, and we will put the solar on as an alternative. 3, a regional program with ECOWAS to provide over 150 megawatts through this OMPG infrastructure. So when this is set, Gambia will have excess energy. And the World Bank has estimated that the Gambia will be among the first countries in West Africa to be energy sufficient. Not only energy sufficient, but clean energy that is sufficient to run the country and also the industries. The message I have to developed countries is, let us have ambitious NDCs that are implementable and that can support, because whatever we do, without the global action, it would be difficult. We would not be able to overcome the challenges of climate change. So let's have ambitious NDCs and provide the resources, the technical capacity, and the technology that is required to be transferred to the developing countries. Leaving no one behind can be a reality.
Awesome. And how about climate finance, the budget in West Africa, around the world, or, being here at the UN? What do you would say?
Well, see, from Glasgow, we were told that we are trying to bring mitigation to the same level with adaptation. But of course, we all know that adaptation funding is way more expensive than mitigation. But since then, we have seen some goalpost moving from 100 billion. Now they're saying, yes, we will provide the envelope of this, including whatever is provided by MDBs and IFIs, which for us is statutory. It should not be part of the calculation to give what the World Bank and the other MDBs are giving to developing countries. What we are saying is blended financing. Let's have the finance from the public sector, which is grossly underestimated, is grossly not adequate.
Yeah.
Public financing is grossly not adequate because of the current macroeconomic realities of the world. So there, the national budgets cannot even support mitigation measures, much more adaptation measures. So we need additional international development financing to be able to finance some of those mitigation and adaptation activities. Like, for instance, in West Africa, if I always say this, being in the Sahel alone is a vulnerability. And these are some of the issues that need to be addressed in public financing to be able to address the needs and aspirations of the people so that the conflicts that are coming out as a result of climate, because some herds rearing communities, because they do not have enough rain, they cannot feed their animals keep moving, enter into other communities. These bring communal tensions and classes, which sometimes move into full-fledged conflict. This is something that we need to take into consideration. So yes, your point for having adequate financing is necessary, but we need innovative measures, innovative ways of financing our climate actions.
Yeah.
If you look at Africa, now we go beyond Gambia and West Africa. We have natural resource capital that we can use to finance our climate actions.
Do you mean carbon credits?
Carbon credit is one of those, but we also have other elements and minerals
Yeah.
that are under the ground that need to be quantified and used as as a de-risking measures. Because whatever you ask is, how do you de-risk the investment? This can be used to de-risk those investments to be able to acquire the results that we desire, so that we can all achieve net zero by 2050.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your input. Tell us, when it comes to sustainable development goal, how is the strategies of Gambia ensuring that SDG 2, SDG 13, these are met?
Well, as you can see this year, the Gambia is one of those countries that have presented their voluntary national review on sustainable development, particularly on SDG 3 and 5, and also SDG on sea level, below water line. So these are very critical issues for developing countries, particularly for the Gambia. All our our National Development Plan is aligned to the SDG goals to achieve all the 17 SDG goals of the partnership, from poverty alleviation, hunger, education, health, food security is very important for us. So all our National Development Plan is aligned with these SDG goals to achieve all the SDG goals. However, because of the current realities, we are globally, we are only able to achieve 17% of the SDG goals. This is a grave concern to all of us when we have only 5 years to go. So the role of the United Nations as a multilateral agency is their convening part to convene and also ensure that the multilateral institutions, the multilateral financial institutions, the multilateral bank development plans are reformed, and this is what we are pushing for, to have reforms in the IFIs to be able to create that fiscal space for developing countries to be able to invest in the social and the productive base of the economy to generate growth and development. But without that, we are not saying let them forgive the loans. We are saying let them restructure the loans in such a way that it will give us the fiscal space to be able to acquire resources domestically and also the development partners' resources, and we put them together to be able to finance the SDG goals, which will be winding out in 2020, in 2030, which is just 5 years away.
Thank you so much. My last question is how multilateral organizations like the UN, inspire all the countries to work for climate change.
Well, we all go back to the United Nations Charter. The Charter has clearly defined what would be the role of the United Nations in ensuring that global challenges like climate change how it to be tackled. Because as I said, as one of the former Secretary General said, United Nations was not created to take man from, to take us to heaven, but it was created to prevent us from hellfire, which this hellfire is talking about. The consequences, the attendant consequences of climate change.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you for your time. You're watching Turkish Journal. I'm Nishat Mirza.
Thank you.